Hey guys, and down here, this is going to be my chapter review to One Punch Man 128. Not sure what the title is. This is a really late review, but a badass chapter nonetheless. So let's get right down to it. The first thing I noticed was the brain-like structure of I'm not even sure what you'd call it, of the Orochi kind of fleshy, celly expansion thing. And I really liked it. You get to see that maze of what's the Monster Association in the back with all of this kind of networking that's going on. It's a very cool way to depict this. You see the brain stem. Is that the hippocampus at the back? I'm not sure what it was called. The cerebellum, sorry, maybe. A very cool cover pick to start with. And we go straight into the chapter where we see those meat suits for Psykos. They're in their containers and they get smashed through and they're being absorbed by Orochi's cells, or Orochi's whatever remains of him. I'm not sure what you described it as. And you see they're actually responding to being absorbed, almost as if they have some level of cognizance. They know that they're being absorbed. They know that they're in pain having been absorbed at this point in time. And I didn't realize that they would be that. I thought they would just be bodies without the minds. They would just be bodies of individuals that either Psykos had killed or completely made from the bottom up, so that they had no soul, had no mind to begin with. But they seem to be very aware of the fact that they're being absorbed right now. And you get to see, compared to the lady meat suit, you see the sofa next to her, which Psykos was on a couple chapters ago. She's huge. These guys are massive. We go straight back down to Tatsumaki, who is she's being absolutely pummeled. Well, these dragon heads are trying to pummel Tatsumaki with all their energy beams, and I love this part. I thought it was such a cool concept and way to draw this. What Tatsumaki does is she points at each of these dragon, well, not each of these dragon heads. She points it like towards the center, so she's kind of defining a point where she wants the gravity to focus around. And what it looks like to me is she heightens gravity in that area. This is so complex. This is so well done, well thought out, from a psychokinetics point of view. Is that what you call them? A psychopath, a psychic's point of view. But she condenses gravity at that point, and everything collapses in on itself. And you have all those dragon heads that were shooting those beams at her all collapse in on themselves. But the thing that made me like really, this is dope, is the fact that all of their energy beams kind of dipped into that gravity. They all got pulled into that little localized area of heightened gravity and didn't actually hit Tatsumaki. They kind of fused into one beam. And then she does this all the way down this corridor of the Monster Association, and it just looks immensely sick. I thought, that's pretty cool. We see Psykos flying straight towards the Orochi matter that's trying to absorb her. We see Tatsumaki trying to stop her, but she's not quite successful at that. She's just getting persistently attacked by these dragon heads that are shooting energy beams at her. And her reasoning for not just like destroying and collapsing everything in on itself, because she shows here, or she at least suggests that she has the capacity to do so. And obviously I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to be the guy that says Tatsumaki isn't able to do so. In my mind, Tatsumaki can do pretty much whatever she wants to do, apart from maybe kill Saitama. So she says, I don't know how deep this goes. I want to turn the whole Monster Association upside down, but I don't know the kid's location. She's talking about Tario, and she knows that she'll end up involving him. And this is where we see a panel where she's behind this it looks like this reinforced door with some bars going through it as a window. And she's looking out to see some scientists, obviously scientists or doctors of some kind. You can tell by their lab coats, and they're being chased by this monster, which has like very human-like hair. You can see, and it's chasing the scientists almost as if an experiment went wrong. So there are a few things that can go on here, but just that, it gives us an insight into maybe Tatsumaki's past, and it's something that I'm really interested in and want to get more information about. So what could be happening here? Tatsumaki could be looking out on people that were testing on her. So maybe her powers weren't natural. Maybe her and Fubuki were actually tested on and granted the powers of an Esper, a psychic. But we don't know whether Fubuki was actually tested on or not. Or it could be that Tatsumaki and Fubuki were identified as psychics or espers when they were younger, and Tatsumaki was just simply unable to control her vastly different and vastly more powerful psychic abilities compared to Fubuki, and she was sent to a facility where they could help her out, where they could possibly use some drugs to help her contain and help her to control her abilities, and possibly one of the people that they were helping to contain, maybe they had like an anger-based one, or maybe someone just overnight turned into a monster due to extreme stress. They just popped out and turned into a monster and started rampaging, killing everyone there. Maybe Tatsumaki was then forced into a corner where she would either have to use her powers and be confident in her ability to do whatever she wanted with them, or she could hide away and not use them, much like Elsa from Frozen. So that's what Tatsumaki is focused on. I think she seems to be showing some genuine concern in that picture for those scientists, or maybe it's just a fear for her own safety. I'm not sure which one it is, but I'd love to know more about that. So she's saying, can someone just rescue the kid? Then we go through this really erotic scene with Orochi and Psykos. She's there like, yes, hand over your flesh to me, thinking that this guy is he's just a massive, basically Orochi's will, essentially just trying to get some power from somewhere. But what she doesn't realize is A, that he's cognizant, I don't think, and B, that he's as powerful as he is. So she's getting groped by this Orochi flesh thing, and she's surprised. She's like, when the hell did you possess such power? And he's like, well, you've been feeding me live sacrifices to help me grow all this time, so now I'm gonna absorb you too. So we get this really, really weird scene where he's fully just like taking his liberties, and he's groping at heart's content, only until Psykos is just like, bitch, you didn't ask my permission, and she lets out like this lightning of obey me, some sort of psychic energy, trying to impose her will on Orochi. So whose will is stronger here? Is it Psychos's, who's the psychic, trying to be the master of this body? She's trying to kind of keep her mind and keep her psychic abilities while having a more powerful physical body, whereas he's trying to absorb her into himself and regain his physical body with the blood of powerful individuals. So she's there saying, I'm the master. We then get to see the effects of that. I really, really dig this transformation. It looks like a creature I can't quite recall. I was speaking to Zonine about this and the guys on the podcast. We both recollect that there is an insect of some kind that looks like this out there in the real world. For all of you who are afraid of this shit, it does exist. Sad times for you, but it just looks amazing. It looks like something from Godzilla almost. You get this four-armed Goro-looking individual, but it looks like a neuron. With the rivets at each kind of section of the body, and then it kind of tapers out as the sinews kind of lengthen all the way down to the bottom. Poor description, sorry. And then it's got all of this. How would you even describe it? It's kind of like, what would you even call it? The heartstrings. They have an actual name. They are a thing in the body. It's like all of this fascia almost connecting to this new form of Orochi / Psykos. But then the other thing is it has, is it 2 to 3 pairs of wings, so 6 wings or 4 wings in total, which aren't very large wings. I don't think they're designed for flight. They're just kind of there for possibly intimidation or some shit, but they do look dope. And then she has this kind of pineapple thing on her head. Her eyes are like down near where the shoulders are, which is weird, but it looks cool. It suits this. She has these 2 blackened spear type things, which are helical in their nature. And then the final thing is the head is very reminiscent of the Queen alien from the Alien series. If any of you guys have watched that, if you haven't, go check it out, then tell me about this. And then the final thing is she has these glowing like strands of hair. I'm not even sure what you'd call them. It's not really, it doesn't look like it's hair, but it flows like hair kind of, and that's falling at the back of the queen head kind of thing. So it looks amazing. I really dig the design. I'm not sure what you guys thought. I thought it was dope. Tatsumaki sees this and it's like, hey, you went through all of that trouble just to reveal your actual body, and now you're larger. It's going to be easier for me to clap you. Psychos here we see she's like, I managed to suppress him, whereas in reality she has not suppressed Orochi. She managed to if we were to describe this as a UFC fight, she's managed to control half of the ring while Orochi has controlled the other half. This is a 50-50. This wasn't a win for Psykos. So Psykos is there saying, yeah, I'm going to kick the shit out of the Tatsumaki with his new body. Whereas you see half of her body is actually Orochi with the blackened eye, the sharpened teeth, the kind of monstrous, grotesque appearance. And he's focused primarily on Saitama. He's like, that boldly he told me to pieces, I'm going to kick the shit out of him. I'm going to find him and turn him into a live sacrifice for my resurrection. So then we get all of these beams attacking Tatsumaki again. She points at all of them. Once again, those heightened areas of gravity and completely destroying them. She tries to attack this new Psykos body. And you see here in that pineapple thing is Psykos' actual body. Psykos' body makes an appearance from there. But she has this psychic field around her which completely protects her from Tatsumaki's attack. And you see Tatsumaki's sleeves actually tear off with the force of the attack that she unleashed. And she's surprised. She's like, holy shit, this is actually really hard. I hit a surface which was much harder than I thought it was going to be. So this was actually a part I thought was amazing. I thought it was really, really cool. We have Psykos here use those two blackened spears to touch the outside of Tatsumaki's psychic shield, that orb that she traps herself in. And Tatsumaki is really cocky here. She's like, fool, do you think gravity manipulation would have any effect on me? But it turns out it's not that. What Psykos did here was she touched the orb with her two kind of, I'm not even sure what you'd call them, psychic spears, and she essentially reversed the current or replaced. I'm not even sure how you describe this in psychic terms. I'm not a psychic, but she touched it and kind of corrupted the energy and made it her own. It's almost like she reversed the current, and now it's her energy that's encapsulating Tatsumaki, meaning that she's in control of Tatsumaki's field. And then we get all of that hair stuff that was at the back coming together and forming this large Psykos. It looks really cool. I'm not sure what the general purpose of that is, but it just looks dope. It's kind of intimidating. And she holds on to this ball that Tatsumaki is now in. She's like, I swapped the inside of your barrier with the outside. I'm not exactly sure what that means. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but basically she swapped it with her own energy is what I got from it. Because Tatsumaki, she says, it got corrupted. I can't disable it. And what you see here is that there's actually a whole bunch of science behind this, and it's just super cool to think about it from that perspective. Not that I know much about science, to be fair, but Psykos tells her, she's like, with that ridiculous output of power that I'm injecting into it, with the increasing internal pressure, even if you disable it, you're just going to get flattened. So the internal pressure is absolutely insane, and that's what's causing Tatsumaki to be literally bleeding out of every orifice. You see that picture? Tatsumaki looks like she was in trouble. When I was reading this the first time around, I was like, holy crap, Tatsumaki is actually about to get her ass kicked. That's something I didn't think would happen for a very, very, very long time, and I didn't think really anybody else was capable of it apart from maybe Saitama. So Psykos is here being like, that same crazy ass bitch, saying, oh, don't worry, your flesh and blood won't go to waste, suggesting that she would ingest her and make her a part of her and Orochi's growth. And then we quickly snap to Saitama, Flash, and the toilet monster. The toilet monster almost gets eaten by this Orochi expansion flesh thing. Flashy saves him, and he's like, I actually liked Flashy's PC. Flash is like, it's attacking monsters, meaning that it's not necessarily a monster association ally. This is something that's attacking everyone unanimously. It has a hatred for everyone unanimously. There's no ally to this thing. This thing, Orochi's flesh cell shit, then actually attaches to Saitama's head, and I was like, oh. And we got the comedic part where it slips off of Saitama's bald head because it's so waxed. And Saitama gets annoyed by this. He's like, don't touch my head. And he throws a punch. You see Flashy's hair flying away with the pressure of the attack. But what you also see is how beautiful, how strong this attack was. Everything around, with Saitama as kind of the epicenter, everything Orochi related around that attack just completely dispersed, completely destroyed. On the cellular level, to the point where we see Psykos' reaction in a page or two, and she's like, something just killed a whole bunch of my cells really quickly. What the hell just happened? So that attack, as stupid and as like just anger induced as it seems, actually damages Psykos quite a bit. We see King here and Tario, they're in that elevator being like, oh my god, this is an earthquake. And some rocks dislodge and actually fall into that container that's filling with water. That's kind of that pulley system that's pulling the elevator up. So the rocks that fall into that quite literally just propel both King and Tario higher, faster. And all the Orochi flesh that was going after them, all the Orochi cells that were going after them, actually miss the elevator because of the speed with which they were going at, saving both King and Tario. So here we come to that part where Psykos has reacted. She's like, holy crap, what the hell? A large number of cells just died in an instant. What was that slippery feeling just now? I died. When I saw that, I was like, really? She had to describe it. I was like, wow. And we see the chibi form of Tatsumaki bleeding from her nose, bleeding from her mouth, and she's just kind of falling. And I was like, wow, Tatsumaki's actually done. But then we get this part where King, over that transponder, he's like, hey, this is King. The kid is under my protection. We're moving towards the surface now. And then you see this devilish grin from Tatsumaki. She readjusts her position in the air. And you see the hair of Psycho, has now kind of devolved into this more demon-like Orochimaru looking thing. And Tatsumaki is now smiling like, I no longer need to hold back. And there's still a bit of blood on her, not as much as Kishin actually made this point. Not as much blood as there should be. She was bleeding out, but there's not as much blood. So now I think Tatsumaki is just gonna say, "All right, you've proven that you're a powerful psychic. You've now got this new body, which is extremely powerful physically as well as mentally. I've been holding back. I let you destroy me because I didn't want to put out so much power that I made this whole place crumble in case the kid died. But now that I'm in the situation where I know the kid is safe, and with King, she actually commends King, saying exactly what I'd expect of someone like King. I'm pretty sure she says that at some point. Yeah, as expected from King. So now that the kid is safe, she's like, all right, time to clap cheeks and make people weep. And that's what she's about to do. So I'm ready for this. I thoroughly enjoyed this chapter. I thought it was awesome. Like I said, this was a late review, but we did get the podcast out, even though there were some persisting issues, I think, technically with that podcast. So hopefully next time around, or maybe the time after that, we'll have those all solved. But yeah, definitely go check out the podcast. Go check out Zonin, Satsuki, Kishin, Matt, Grim, all the boys. And tell me what you guys thought of this chapter. Tell me what you guys thought of this review. Tell me what you guys thought of Psykos' form and everything like that. And I will see you guys hopefully in a bit when I release my One Piece review. Either later today, maybe not, maybe Monday and Tuesday for One Piece and My Hero, respectively. So let me know what you guys thought, all that good stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in a bit.